Welcome to the Inspire, Create, Manifest podcast. I'm Joe Longo, and this is where we cut through the noise, return to simplicity, and reconnect with what actually matters. If you are ready to think for yourself, trust yourself, and create a life that feels true, you're in the right place. Now let's get into today's episode. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Inspire, Create, Manifest podcast. I'm your host, Joe Longo, and today's conversation is going to challenge the way a lot of us think about manifesting, mindset, and what it actually takes to create change in our lives. Because here's the truth. A lot of people are doing the work, they're journaling, they're visualizing, they're saying the affirmations, and still nothing feels like it's really moving. So the question becomes why? And today's guest, Maggie Haas, of House of Movement in Amsterdam, brings a perspective that I think is missing from a lot of these conversations. She teaches that the body doesn't feel safe if your nervous system isn't on board. It doesn't matter how clear your vision is. You're going to keep blocking the very things you say you want. In this episode, we get into the differences between pushing and allowing, why the body is often the missing piece in manifestation, and how movement, breath, and awareness can actually shift you faster than thinking ever will. This conversation is about coming back to yourself, not through doing more, but through listening differently. So let's get into this. Maggie, thank you so much for being here with me all the way from Amsterdam. I'm so excited to chat with you. How are you doing today?
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Joe. I think it was a beautiful, lovely intro of exactly the essence and the body of indeed what I preach, my life experience has brought me to breathe through. And I'm doing very well. It's a Friday afternoon in Amsterdam, one of the warmest days ever so far this year. So the entire city is cheering and enjoying. Like we're in Hawaii, even though it's not so hot, but still, in our standards, it's beautifully sunny, and we are all grateful for that.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. The sun is shining here as well. It's still a little chilly, but I'll at least take the sun. And happy May. It's May 1st. How about that?
Oh, yes,
Uh,
yes. Wow, 4 months already passed. Yes, so yeah.
right. It goes so quickly. So as I've been, prepping and getting ready for our conversation, I noticed that you said something that I love, and it's that the body can actually block what we're trying to manifest. And
Mm.
what does that look like in real life for someone who thinks that they're doing everything right? Like, Maggie, I'm doing all of it. Why isn't it working?
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely. And I think the essence, or at least what I've been seeing from my clients and myself, is indeed we can as much analyze and tell our brain this is the right thing to do, and we have to be this way, and everything looks on paper, nice and shiny, and so-called right or rational. If our body is in a stress situation, right, or in a stress state, and in the state where things don't feel safe in the end because we're just pushing so hard and we want it so hard, then the brain, the mind will follow what the body is telling us. So it will not follow what we write on paper, because if this creates unsafety, stress, and danger, that the mind will keep us safe, right? That's all its goal, right? Purpose of life, of brain, of mind is keeping us safe. So if we see, and if the mind thinks your manifestation makes you feel very unsettled or keeps you in the nervous state, it will definitely do its job. It will keep you away from what you want in the end.
Mhm. It's so uh, crazy to think, right? That, well, I want the thing, but my body nervous system doesn't think that it's safe, so it's going to try to keep me safe and keep me in, I guess we can say, a familiar state. So
Mm-hmm.
if from is it safe to say if scarcity has become familiar, our body thinks that scarcity and lack is actually safe?
Yeah, absolutely, right. So I think that's the whole big, yeah, breakthrough, I would say. To many people, I wish them to notice that mind is looking for safety, right? So it's looking for familiarity. It's not looking for happiness. So in the end, it will just do its job to keep us in the familiar places. That's why I think we do many decisions that are not always the best ones, but they are the most familiar ones, right? Thinking of our childhood patterns, thermodynamics and so on. So we could think of that we want something else rationally because we are told to, but the body is not maybe ready for it. So if we're not gonna be able to prepare our body in a, I would say, gradual, soft and calmer way to expand the comfort zone so that our
Hmm.
nervous system's capacity can hold a change, because change is a kind of a stress to the body and to the system, right? So if we're going to go pushing it for too much extremes or very, very fast, it will basically, again, keep us safe. So yes, I think it's a subtle thing that we might not even always notice that we are in this freeze response or fight response. You know, you have all those states of nervous system, and we think doing more would be the way to get out of it. But in the end, it's usually just taking a step back and maybe find that softness first and to realize that maybe it's the other way to start with.
Hmm. You said two interesting things there. One was gradual, right? A
Mm,
gradual and taking a step back. And
mm,
we live in this world with these wonderful phones where everything happens
mm.
instantaneously. So how do I go slowly when I want it to move quickly? And how do I start um how can we start trying to create a new familiar?
Yes, it's a lovely question. I'm a believer of doing things less but consistently. You can think of course, manifestation. I'm also coming from the movement, right? From the fitness background, etc. So like consistency, it's actually creating that expansion, right? So the nervous system gets familiar and gets a bit broader scope when it comes to able to load it. Think of also, of weightlifting. You can't lift, 100 kilos today, but over time you will manage to get there, right? So you're expanding the capacity of our body and of our minds. And so I always say it to myself and to other people, even though you have big goals, just make them smaller. And I think you also mentioned it many times in your social media and your Instagram. Make it doable from the very beginning. The time is now. It's the right moment, not tomorrow, not next year. And then I always say it in my clients in the gym, any workout is better than no workout. So even though today you only have time and capacity for 5 minutes, just move a little bit. So you give your body and your mind that signal you can show up for yourself and you are the one to trust on yourself or rely on yourself. And
Mhm.
then that gradual, no dopamine kicking in every day for something super extreme approach will help you last longer, I would say, than the big, big extremes that will burn you out immediately and it will get something opposite that you are longing for, I would say.
Mhm. Mhm. I the process the way you described, and I love that the analogy of going to a gym, or you have to go to a gym. We're not going to start with 100 kilos, we're going to gradually build up. And I
Mm-hmm.
think society, if we go to work and we're working every day for 8 hours a day and we're at our job and we have a stack of things to do at work, right? And we're like, I have to do all of these things, fine, work. But then we come home and we're working on our personal life, our goals, our intentions. And I think sometimes we have this mindset of, well, I have to do all of these things because I did all of those things for my job. So if I'm only going to the gym for a little bit of time, is it really going to help? And I think
Mm-hmm.
there's like a misconnect there, thinking we have to do so much over here as well, when really it's the small, I like to say simple actions that
Mm-hmm.
compound and start getting us to where we need to be. So I'm wondering, how can we start changing our mindset to know that the small little steps are actually enough if we keep showing up consistently with those small steps?
Yeah, you're asking about how. What's the golden recipe? Yes.
Hmm.
Well, I had to reflect back on when was the last time you had a big New Year's resolution goal, that failed in February, maybe, or you
Hmm.
were lucky, or you're lucky in March, and then that was it. And I always, not as a laugh, with sarcasm. I laugh with compassion that gyms are super full in January, right? And then it's just becoming quieter, the second, third weekend, and so on. So how can we be a bit more compassionate to ourselves, saying, okay, big goals definitely don't work. They are maybe inspirational. Maybe they keep our vision, nice and tight and clear. But we know that we will not, run the marathon tomorrow, right? So how can
Hmm.
we do it also sustainably for our body and the mind so that we don't burn out literally, but also indeed, of course, emotionally. And how do we do it? It's like, I think it's just more of a rational and realistic approach that I will also not lose 50 kilos to, or pounds, sorry, that's, American way, kilos or pounds tomorrow. But what can I do today? And one step that brings me closer over there. Because
Hmm.
tomorrow and then weeks later, there'll be already 7 steps that are already made. And then basically creates this beautiful, I think, this perpetuum mobile, the compounding effect that you mentioned, that the
Hmm.
snowball effect, it just goes bigger. And then keeping yourself in check on already what you have done before, 7 days, 14 days. And those mini steps that maybe in the beginning sounded silly, weird, or completely not related to your goal, but in the end, you're already somewhere else. So I
Hmm.
think the movement, metaphorical one, getting things in motion, but also the movement, physical one, is the best way to give this impulse to the body that you are in charge and action. Any action is better than no action and being in stagnation.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think it's a process to keep on learning, like a muscle, that you just have to give this impulse to the brain, mind. I believe this is the muscle. If you give a good nutrition, if you give a good input, stimuli every day, it just brings you back and gives you back what you want as a beautiful reward.
Hmm. Yes, that is so true. And it's the I've been finding with my clients and giving a homework assignment of at the end of the day, notice the one thing that you did that was in aligned action. Because
Mm,
I think we forget. Oh, I'm going to the gym and I'm excited that I'm going to the gym, but at the end of the day, do I actually say I went to the gym today? And sit in
mm,
that moment. So it again, I think it feeds the muscle to remember because we I think if we don't bring that little space of awareness to say I did the small step today, we forget. Right? It just
yeah.
kind of gets brushed aside. And we might do the small thing tomorrow, but if we don't bring the recognition to it, we kind of just sweep it aside. So it's like
Yeah, we devalue it. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right. So it's like just making that awareness again, because I think with like work, we're in the space of I have all of this stuff to do. And what did I do? Did I do it? So if I say, what's one thing? We don't think it's enough. So we don't
Mm,
hold on to it. But that little bit, I think, helps the muscle. And it's so interesting because this morning, as I was drinking my coffee and getting ready for our interview and a couple other meetings that I had this morning, I had this like flash of, and very interesting that we're talking about gym stuff, of going like you have to treat your mindset and your brain just like you're going to the gym, and we
yeah,
have to do the just little exercises that keep it going, but we have to keep reminding ourselves that I did the thing. Whatever that thing was, I did the thing today, so it stays there. So we're like, all right, I did it. Or so easily um, we forget that if we did the thing and we just brush it.
yeah. Beautiful said. I think we tend to forget or indeed the value or undermine our steps or our efforts, right?
Hmm.
And then we will definitely, pat our friend's shoulder, when we say, hey, you did a good job, but why don't we do it also ourselves, like, because we do show up, small things, big things, but it doesn't matter, you do it. And,
Hmm.
um, and you choose yourself every day or whatever you chose, right? So small things compound and then become your habit. It's amazing if it becomes a habit and it's already, and a beautiful routine that you're making. And then it becomes a no-brainer. And then you add something else and
Hmm.
then look back on how it was. Something very small back then, now it's a no-brainer and you're already there.
Right. And just the simple practice of I did it. Just I did it. Right. Even if it's just checking the calendar, like I did it. I know for me, I've been this past year using Insight Timer for meditation, even though I've always meditated, but there's something about it keeping track of how many days. And when I finish the meditation,
Consecutively.
right, I
Mhm.
get the numbers roll, and every like 7 days I get a gold star. And it's like, oh, look at that. I'm doing it, which makes me want to show up. again, just to see that number flip, right? I'm going to
And not to
show.
lose it, right? Not to go to the zero again.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. I don't want to start from zero. Not when the number gets so big. So it keeps pushing.
Yeah.
I'd like to jump over to a little maybe a hidden contradiction with affirmations and journaling. So
Mm.
a lot of people listening are doing affirmations, they're journaling, they're vision boards. And where do you see people maybe unknowingly forcing instead of allowing?
Mm. I think, and I feel, I think it comes back to the feelings, is the state and the intention that you are about to do, right? The information, the journaling, the vision board. Is it from the place of I have to or I must be there? And sometimes it's also coming from the external factors or societal pressure, or like I have to be there, I have to be this person by that age or anything, etc. So is that the intention that you're bringing in, that energy of performance, of productivity or whatever, etc., of status, or it's actually coming from that inner knowing, that wholeness, like, yeah, fuck yes, that's what I want, and
Hmm.
that's what I'm longing for. And my body is actually like kind of like a radiation, feeling like, oh yes, yes, I'm fully aligned. My cells are actually telling me like cheerleaders, yes, yes, we are all on board, like an army, we're gonna get there. So I think the fourth thing, the allowing, even though from the outside might look the same, also thinking of discipline, going to the gym and versus punishment. I always love this metaphor, like the comparison, from the outside, it shows the same. You show up to the gym, but do you show up from the fact that you have to punish yourself because, I'm not sure, you ate ice cream last night or something? Or do you go there because you want to show up for yourself because it's important to you? So I think you need the forcing and the allowing, and the body, I think, will tell you, do you feel tense or do you feel excited? Do you feel afraid, maybe? Or do you feel afraid of this goal? Or indeed, do you feel that you have to tell yourself, I need to be there, but from the place of obligation, not from the
Hmm.
place of joy, not a place from fun or excitement. And I think it's a lifelong journey, I would say, maybe with help of people or life experiences, to distinguish those two states, because I think they are very often uh, mistaken or misunderstood, or we are trained to be feeling afraid and nervous for the goals we want to achieve.
Hmm. Hmm. It sounds like it's, can we be playful and joyful with it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like keep like a childlike mindset with it
Oh, yes.
in
Yeah.
that area. So let's jump into our body, bringing it into the body, not
Mm,
in theory. If someone is dysregulated and doesn't even realize it, what might be some signs that their body or behavior that might be telling you or them, that they're not actually ready to receive yet? Like what,
mm-hmm.
that almost like the dysregulated nervous system in a
Mm-hmm.
way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I think there are many ways, and I think there are different responses, right? Some people who are dysregulated, they go into action, right? So they think they have to do more because they can't stay still, or they can't face the stillness or the emotions, so they prefer to be occupied with everything else but themselves. Um, and then you can feel this restlessness, this tension that a person, yeah, can't really sit back, can't really relax or do nothing, right? The whole art of doing nothing is, I think, a big topic in on its own, and how
Hmm.
to do less in life. And the other response is indeed like being completely frozen and numb and quite dissociated. I think, but these are probably usually the trauma responses in different situations. What I usually see is people want to do more because I think that's a nice escape to feel less, and because we are so glorifying the productivity thing in life, then it's in the end also in some way encouraged to do more and to be busy with more. And and what I see also many times, I work also with moms or mothers and parents, that in the end life is so full of everything that me is on the last bottom of the priority list, right? So in the end, by the end of the day, they are depleted, they're exhausted, and they don't know where the time went, and they're already behind by default. So how I see is body response and the behavior and the dialogue that actually they have, within themselves, and then in the conversations we have with each other. That it's hard to bring back, yeah, the joy, what you mentioned. Like, did you have anything to enjoy today, right? Or could you have something to enjoy today? And it's usually a very big response and pushback saying, I don't have time for it. What are you talking about? Etc.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's kind of the patterns that we're, I think, recreating to do it, and how the body is just on guard because it's just used to being on fifth gear all the time. And
Mm-hmm.
I can really see it also, in the classes that I teach, etc., that women either come to perform or they come to relax and feel better afterwards. And there's also a subtle difference over there in this.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. There's a wonderful reflection of myself in that if I'm stressed, I feel I need to do more. Well, if I
Mm,
sit in front of my computer and I send another email or I put another post out on social media, if I
mm,
do that one more thing, it will let me get to wherever because I feel I'm doing. But really, and for the listeners, this is years of work and learning. I've realized I have to do less.
mm,
I have to pull back, right? To let, because my nervous system thinks, well, go, 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 right? Work, 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 work. If I'm not working, then I'm not doing. But the work, work, work has become the familiar. But really, my nervous system wants to be over there and slow down and get calm. So it's
mm,
recognizing, and then in the recognizing, saying, "Oh, look at what look at the awareness. I'm seeing it. I'm going to do the work when I don't have to do the work, but I think I need to do the work when really I need to just be." And it's going to be, I feel, different, right, for everybody because we're all completely different. Some people might, the escape might be doing nothing. Other people like me, the escape might be doing more, 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 more. So it's finding where your, I guess, scapegoat is, recognizing it, and then creating practices to see it, reframe it, change it with small
totally.
little baby steps.
Yeah, right. What you mentioned, right? Like awareness is already a big thing, right? In anything, just already
Mm-hmm.
catching myself, maybe not every time, but maybe once in a while. And again, what you said, saying to yourself, like, oh shit, now today I did it. I noticed.
Mm-hmm.
I maybe don't will not change my life today, but today I caught myself. Why am I actually now writing, more work, right? Why can't I just sit back? Or why can't I just stand up and shake a little bit? And maybe
Mm-hmm.
that will give me a bit of different outputs afterwards.
Right, right, exactly. And I love the way you said that. Like, why can't I just recognize that? Like the awareness of I
Mm-hmm.
I caught it today. I didn't go down it. I caught it, and that is a win. Um, and again, kind of like the keeping track at the end of the day. What were my little wins? Because if we don't, I heard somebody say this a couple weeks ago. If we don't write it down, we delete it.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
And it's like, did I? Cool. I caught myself being an old version of Joe that doesn't live here anymore. But I
Mm,
caught him so he can keep moving out and
yeah.
creating that space. Um, How about we explore shifting from mindset into embodiment and what this may look like? You talk about movement and breath and creating results faster than visualizing sometimes. Can you walk us through what that might actually look like when moving into maybe breath and movement?
Yeah. Well, I think it's a nice kind of a loop what we started with. Is indeed like if we are not regulated, if we are not calm or anything, we can't get better, right? If the body doesn't feel safe, it will try to keep us safe. So it will not help us change or make any movements towards that. And yeah, and usually the nervous system requires some regulation, right? And very often people think that rest is the only way and they should just rest and be still. But very often resting actually is, I call it kind of marinating that stress, it just stays there, it doesn't get discharged. That's why I
Hmm.
just love, either indeed movement or controlled breathing, like in terms of intentional. So at least there is some movement internally too. And that's why I love to, bring strength training or movement in general, because you breathe with intention when you move, right? So you breathe out on the effort, you breathe in when you prepare for the repetition, and so on. So that kind of is a beautiful way, a controlled stress as a nice way of signaling your body is safe and you are in charge. And
Hmm.
then the nervous system's kind of a little bit, calm down and starting to trust you and starting to trust your actions. Like, hey, okay, if I'm here and you're doing that, it seems like we are more aligned, right? So we can now work it out together. And if you really want some change, maybe indeed we can a little bit talk about it, right? And get you there, right? In a safe container. And yes, so breath work, movement, also the kind of tension and release, right? So any movements that actually help us with the muscles contracting and releasing, etc., is a trick for me, and I think for everyone, to get out of that flight response and out of that stress that we have to be there, we have to perform. Because I think physiologically we are just also getting different then, right? From that alcohol, the stress, we can't move forward. We are frozen. And if we just let this discharge go, I would say visualizations, affirmations are felt differently in the body because we are able to tap into the emotions that are more accessible. So we can't feel joyful with what we mentioned, right? We can't feel excitement. We can't feel the soft juice of of excitement for our future, for what we want to go after, etc. If we are in the tense state. And I think it's as simple as that. So it's, I think, allowing the juice and the colors within our bodies, because I think then our visualizations will be more tasty to all our senses. Because if we are dysregulated, we can't feel, we can't hear, we kind of shut everything down, right? Everything kind of goes into the survival state. So then slowly allowing the system to open up, and then I think we feel more, we taste more, we smell more, and I think then the embodiment kicks in because we embody our vision through the entire system of ours.
Hmm. Yeah. It makes me think of when a dog shakes, right? Like a dog is shaking
Mm.
to reset its nervous system.
Yeah. They, or
And
like the animals being preyed, right? Or being chased after. Yeah. They don't
hmm
sit and relax like, oh, we have to breathe. And yeah, no, we just fucking survived. Let's just
hmm
let everything, let it go. Yeah.
yeah, I'm sometimes that's it. We just got to get the body it then for our friends that are listening, if you think about this, that time when you didn't want to go to the gym, but you went to the gym, where he's like, I don't want to go to that class. And then you go to the class and you're like, oh, that's exactly what I needed. And
Yeah.
right, the old way, right, the body thinks it's safe to, nah, I'm sad. I'm going to sit here and do nothing. But really, the new way is no, go move the body, get the energy going, and you're probably going to feel a lot better because you're not, I think you said ruminating, right? You're not sitting in that blah kind of state. We're now up and moving and going.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, right, I'm allowed to leave that place.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. Exactly.
oh,
What you mentioned, I think there was no moment where you regretted going to the gym or you regretted movement or in any way regretted something that you did in terms of changing your pattern, right? So yeah.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember hearing somebody say, I never went to a yoga class and said, damn, I wish I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
And it's just, it's that space, but we have to, I don't want to say have to. It would be a good
Mm.
practice to move out of the old and into a new way, a new idea,
Yeah.
and creating the new normal, the new familiar of this would, I am safe. And especially with, I think, abundance and that kind of stuff, it's like, it's safe to be abundant. It's
Mm.
safe to allow prosperity to flow through me. And I think a lot
Yeah.
of people have a feeling of it's not safe. What if it goes away? What if I lose it all? I never had it. I don't know how to hold it.
Yes, yes, all the newness, or some beliefs from the past too, right? And
Hmm.
yeah, that are stored and associated with danger, yeah, or with
Right.
hurt.
Hmm. And a lot, I think it's not, we don't even really realize it. And I think that's why that awareness, when we catch it, we have to almost celebrate the fact that I caught myself going the old way. I caught it. And now I'm on the right way. It's like if we're going on a road trip and we're driving and we recognize we're going the wrong way, we're going to change direction. We're not going to keep going the wrong way just because the car is like, oh, well, this is a nice smooth ride.
Yeah.
And it's like our nervous system though would keep us going the wrong way because like, oh no, this is nice and smooth, and it's Joe's familiar with this. When in reality, the GPS might be saying, no, turn left. No, turn left. Turn left.
Wow. Yeah, beautiful metaphor indeed. So, so on point. Yeah. If we're not gonna
um,
continue, yeah, we just go back on track. Yeah.
Right. And again, just like our GPS system, I'm sure, there have been times it's been taking us somewhere and we're like, I know a shortcut. And we're taking the shortcut, but the GPS doesn't know the shortcut. And it keeps saying, make
Mm,
a U-turn, make a U-turn, make a U-turn. And that's like our nervous system saying, wait, you're taking a shortcut. You're taking the easy way. Make a U-turn, make a U-turn. It's supposed to be
mm.
harder. You're making it easier.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm wondering um what changes for someone when they stop treating their body like a problem and start trusting it as guidance?
What changes? Well, cliche changes everything.
Hmm.
Because you can start from the changing relationship with your body, with yourself. And I always say it like, hey, we want our body and the mind to work for us, not against us, right? Or we should not against our bodies or our minds. So how can we, like, I think all your work is also about like how can we make sure that our mind is our ally, not the enemy, or not someone that is sabotaging us. Actually, it's the best soldier. We just have to train it the way we want, and it gives us all the prompts. And I think
Hmm.
once I heard like it's a metaphor of the AI or ChatGPT, it's a matter of a prompt. So depending on the quality of the prompt, you will get the quality of the response of the output. So if we change it, the relationship of our body, that it's our beautiful vessel. You can go spiritually, you can go in any way, etc. But also, of course, physically and physiologically, it's our vessel, right? So it's the body is making things happen for us,
Hmm.
right? So we better manage it well, or manage it to its own, constraints, limitations, and abilities. So why not taking that vehicle on board into our teamwork so that we use its all potential to the fullest, so that whatever we wanna achieve for and strive for, we have all the team on board to get us in the direction. And maybe it can sound cheesy and everything, but in the end, and I guess it's also maybe a lot of work from body image, and maybe also the conditioning from the past, etc. But how can we indeed soften that our relationship and our approach to ourselves a little bit as well, right? So it's not about indeed performing and outperforming, etc. But how can we also allow it, right? So allow the body to be on its own, maybe cherish and acknowledge its needs, stand up for its needs when
Hmm.
it's needed, when it's not, and it will only give us so much in return afterwards. And I think, again, small steps, how can we do it, how can we try it? And I think everyone should just experience it, right? What you mentioned in the beginning, how can each small step help us do it? And I think how can each small step towards allowing our body be the body and seeing hopefully the results compounding as the same thing.
Hmm. Yeah, it's so true, and it's really there's a space of we get to choose, and I think we
Mm,
you have to remember that we get to choose. And we can choose the good or we can choose the bad. We can choose the thought that's there or we can change the thought. We have that
mm,
power. And it, I think, ultimately comes back to the recognizing and having that awareness to say, wait a minute, why am I having this thought about this thing that isn't really that bad? And this is
mm,
example from my own life. I was having I was in a meeting yesterday And I knew that part of the meeting was going to be discussing this one topic. And I sat on my couch the night before the meeting, just trying to relax. I was meditating. And in meditating, the thought came up of like, okay, I'm in the meeting and this is what they're going to say. And this is what I'm going to say. And this is how it's going to go. And I stopped myself and I'm like, why are you doing this? Why are you not just sitting here breathing? Why are you
Mm,
trying to think about what they're going to say tomorrow in the meeting so you have a response? Why can't you just be?
and
And
what
right, it
happened?
was like probably an hour of
Yeah.
sitting there of like going back and forth with myself of like
Mm,
stop it,
mm,
and with
mm.
the stop it. And then guess what happened in the meeting? It was nothing. It was like this whole big thing, and it was like it just infiltrated, right? It was like this army of thoughts that showed up. But
Mhm,
I had to
mhm,
stand there and say, wait, am I going to choose to continue to ruminate, or am I going to keep bringing myself back? So it was like a workout
mhm.
of going to the gym for my
Good.
mind. For
Yeah. Good.
it was the workout that I didn't want to have, but
Mhm.
I had to recognize that that army of thoughts just showed up. And I had to say, wait, that's old Joe, not new Joe. Not the identity.
Wow.
My identity does not want to sit on my couch and think about a 10-minute meeting tomorrow. He wants to enjoy now,
Mhm.
but it was a
Yeah.
workout.
Yeah. And it will not be done for all and we're done, right? So I think it's a continuous practice, and we just might be better, worse, depending on the day, the moment, etc. It's just the
Hmm.
muscle that is going to be there for us. So we just have to use it as a tool, right? So I would not say that, hey, it's just, you have a foundation, you made it, you've mastered it, and you're done. I think it's a continuous, lifelong adventure.
Exactly. Exactly. Because obviously I thought I was cool and I would never have these thoughts about future
Hmm.
conversations. And then when it shows up, it's like, okay, there it is. Okay, I have to keep doing the work. And they're going to show up again. And hopefully I catch them again and not
Hmm.
ruminate. And then that's the thing. At the end of the night, I caught it. I caught it. I stopped it. I had to catch it and stop it and catch it and stop it.
Hmm.
But tomorrow, maybe it'll be a little easier.
Yeah. But you see, like, I think also what you talk about the embodiment, like, cheering for yourself is also giving a beautiful boost to the body, like, hey, I made it, right? I did something good. So
Hmm.
again, nervous system gets also, encouraged and gets also supported. That's something that I did. I'm rewarding myself with a beautiful, yeah, praise, compliment, and whatever, a nice shake or hooray thing, etc. So again, we instill this in our system that is something to look forward to do it again.
Hmm. Yeah, so true. We got to celebrate ourselves. Maggie,
Hmm.
this has been a wonderful conversation. I would love it if you could tell the listeners where they can find you if they want to work with you, what that might look like.
Yeah, sure. So I'm based in Amsterdam, but I work with women and men as well, of course, online and in person too. And yeah, my work combines, as I think you can already recall from the conversation, we move, we reflect, we discuss, we challenge our thinking and our movement all together to kind of shake off what is stagnant, what's needed. And yeah, people can find me on my website. It's houseofmovement.club, or on Instagram, it's house movement sound, because I believe sound and music is also a big, beautiful piece and tool to get us where we want. And yeah, so I think they can find me there. I always offer, a free session to explore how it is to move and talk together at the same time, and how it's actually all together intertwined and or yeah, inseparable to make it work.
Mm. Maggie, thank you so much. And I will put your links in the show notes for everyone that's listening. Go give Maggie a follow and start bringing the awareness into your life and doing those mental workouts that we all need to move us into a new, beautiful, familiar space. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. I'm excited again, still. And yeah, I enjoyed talking to each other about those beautiful topics that are close to my heart. And yeah, so a lot of goodness to you, to your audience. And thank you so much for the time.
Wonderful. Thank you. And thank you all for listening. Check out the show notes, share the episode with your friends, and we'll see you back here real soon.